Big news out of Liebherr. They've won the 2025 Red Dot Design Award. Kudos to you, Liebherr. Specifically for their side-by-side refrigerator freezer with, wait for it, a wine compartment. This award recognizes design excellence and across four core principles. That's functionality, aesthetics, user experience, and responsibility. Now, what does responsibility mean in this context? Well, there's social responsibility, making sure that these appliances are inclusive, accessible, and safe. There's environmental responsibility, making sure that you're using sustainable materials and making sure that they're energy efficient. There's ethical responsibility, using fair labor practices and transparency in the manufacturer process. And then there's cultural and contextual responsibility, avoiding things that might be considered tone deaf or offensive to some people. So, Anthony, what are your thoughts on Liebherr getting this award?
So, Tom, I'm glad you went deep on terms of what the Red Dot Design Award involved. And I didn't realize how big it was, that this is an international competition. So it's definitely a big deal that that Liebherr won this award. And also I looked at the takeaways for me on these products. And the biggest one that stood out to me that I'm really a fan of, and it's not a big thing for everyone, but the wood racking on wine, the wood, and it is just is the best way for long-term wine storage. As a wine fan, as my wife and I are, we really like that. And then also, and I believe these models, and please, John, correct me if I'm wrong, have the lever handle where when you pull on the handle, it pushes on the door to help you open the door. Couldn't find it exactly for these models, but I'm pretty sure these models, which I really love. So some thoughtful design from Liebherr. Liebherr's been doing some really great things with refrigeration for a while. So congratulations to them. John, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so actually, Anthony, you remember this too, is that Liebherr, when we first came into the business, they've always had a cold story, right? I mean, they were always had these ultra precise like cooling systems and these compartmentalized preservation zones, and they're German engineered, so that level of consistency always went along with it. But I always had trouble on the sales floor trying to sell these guys, right? Because the story for me was always a tough sell, because as soon as the customer opened the door, it kind of fell apart for me, right? Because they had those blue stickers everywhere and like these awkward icons about what should go in what drawer and things like that. And, this really kind of changes that. And Tom did a good job explaining what the Red Dot Design Award. I told you last week I'm not a big fan of awards. I kind of have to eat my words again this week on that, because an award like this actually does matter, because it takes all of these things into account, right? Aesthetics and usability and innovation really kind of into one experience. And why this matters now is that, to me, it really looks like Liebherr is kind of completing their story, right? I mean, we've talked about them nailing performance forever, but to me, it's really the sign that they're catching up in terms of presentation, right? Super clean lines, the stainless steel interior throughout. I mean, it really looks premium comparative to everybody else that they're trying to compete against, and it really has that feel throughout. And it backs it up with the engineering that they've always had. To me, this is more than just kind of a resized Euro unit that they've kind of been known for. This is really kind of tailored towards the U.S. market, I feel like. And I mean, I don't have any inside baseball on this or anything like that, but to me, it looks like with this innovation and then the undercounter that they were doing, that it's kind of like this brand focus where they're kind of tailored more towards these full-size units and shifting towards their attention, at least towards the U.S. market, which I'm excited about.